What would you like to work on? What would be interesting?
I like to work on it's like oh yeah, percents.
What do you mean by percents? Do you have an example of a problem?
Like solving percents, like I'm having trouble with that. Solving percents,
Okay. Let me
not
share.
easy percents, but hard percents.
Okay,
It's
so let
like
me,
it's like
yeah.
solving the equations for percents.
All right. So for example, here, I'm sharing my screen now. Um, the like a common thing you would see is like you go to a restaurant and then you would tip. Okay.
Tip.
Are you familiar with what that means by that? A tip.
Is it like a tax or something?
Taxes are different. Tips are kind of a positive thing. Like you've been to a restaurant where they bring food to your table. That person that works there, they're relying on your tip to, um, you know, make part of their wages or their salary. So like let's say you and your family go and you have a $40 meal.
Okay.
Okay. There are you can obviously tip whatever you want, but some places they talk about like 10%, 15%, maybe even 20%.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have any idea how to start this?
Yeah.
Like can you tell me 10% of $40?
10% of $40. Do we have to multiply?
Yeah, you're taking 10% and you're multiplying it by this number here, but you first convert it to a decimal. So do you know what 10% is as a decimal? Do you remember how to,
As a decimal,
yes,
0.10.
yes. So 0.1. How about 15%?
0.15.
0.15. And then what about 20?
0.20.
Perfect. So the tip is literally taking 0.1 and multiplying it by 40.
Okay. All right. And then for that,
Okay. So what is 0.1 times 40, or what is what is
what is what?
what is 0.1 times 40?
0.1 times 40. Um, um, 40.
It can't be the same thing. It's 0.1. You're welcome to use a calculator. That's okay with me.
Okay. I have a calculator on my computer.
Okay.
Okay. So now what is another problem?
I'm asking for this right here. 0.1 times 40.
0.1 times 40. Let me just type that down. 4.
Okay, 4. Very good. How does that number compare to the original number? Like what similarities do you see?
Well, $40 makes it like $40 is like um it's like divided by 10.
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay. So now let's do 20% next. What is 0.2 times 40?
0.2 times 40.
Yes. You're welcome to use a
8.
calculator. It's 8. How does that number compare to 4? Like what similarities do you see?
We multiply by 2.
By 2. And notice 20% is double 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So what would 30% be? And without a calculator, what would 30% be just going off of this right here? Do you see how 30% is 10%
12,
times
it
3?
is 12.
Perfect. Now 15% is halfway between 10 and 20%. What is halfway between 4 and 8?
What is halfway between 4 and 8? 6.
Very good. Okay. So like you said, when you go to a restaurant, there are things that are added to your meal, and one of them is tax. It literally is the extra money that you expect to pay when you go to a meal. So let's look at, just add a little space here. Why is this not working? There we go. Okay. So let's say you want to buy a new gaming console.
Okay.
And let's say the console is $500. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's tax of 5%. Okay.
Mhm.
So you could, here's what you could do. You could multiply 0.05 times 500. Okay. But if you do 10%, 10% is going to be easier. What is 10% of 500? What is 10%
10% of 500.
Yeah.
10% of 500. So, okay.
What is 10% of 500?
50.
50. And notice that 5% is half of 10%. So what is half of 50? I'm asking you, Sourish,
10.
what is half of 50?
It's 10.
No. What is
10.
half of 50? Half of 50. 1/2 divided by 2.
It's 2. Like, okay, okay.
I'm asking you, what is half of 50?
Okay. 25.
25. Okay. Now let's say I wanted 15%. 15% is really 5% plus 10%. So
Okay.
what is 25 plus 50?
75.
75. So whenever you're working with percentages, you use what I call like um, a known value, and that's 10%. It's usually pretty easy to calculate. And then from there you can adjust to others. Right.
Okay.
Now, does the tax take away from this number or add to it? Like when you go to a store and you want to buy a new gaming console, it's $500 and there's tax. Is it 500 plus the 25 or is it 500 minus the 25?
Minus.
So taxes actually increase. They increase
Oh,
what
okay,
you
okay.
pay.
Add.
Okay. But sometimes there are what are called coupons or discount codes.
Yeah, discount codes. Okay.
What is the new you said there was a Java edition of Minecraft that you're looking for. Do you know what it costs?
Well, it costs like $50, I would say.
Okay. Let me just change the numbers. Yeah, let's use $50. That's fine. Let's say it costs $50 for this new version of Minecraft that you're looking for. But you're in luck. You have a discount code. Okay. And your discount code is for, let's go with 15%. Okay. 15% is really 10% plus 5%. What is 10% of 50?
2% of 50?
10% of $50. What is 10%?
Fine.
It is 5. Okay. Now 5% of 50 is going to be half. What is half of $5?
What is the half of $5?
Yes.
1.
So if you have $5 and you want to split that between two people and you hand someone 1, they're going to say, no, you didn't give me enough. You're taking $5 and dividing it by 2.
All right, let me divide. $2.5.
Okay, so like $2.50.
Yeah.
All right. So $2.50. Now your discount is these two added together. So what is the total when you add $5 and $2.50 together?
So you just add that and then it will give
Yep.
you
Go ahead and add them together.
$7.50.
$7.50.
7.5.
Right. So you started, here's the picture. You started and you're like, I really want this Minecraft, and it's $50, but you have a discount of $7.50. Okay. So
Yeah.
does this discount reduce the price or increase the price?
Increase the price.
Discounts reduce the price. That's why you want a discount. Sometimes you will see a sale that says, hey, come on in, we're going to give you 15% off. And that's what the discount is.
Okay, so it's decreasing.
Okay, so now take $50 and subtract $7.50. Tell me what
Yeah.
you get as a result.
All right, and so you just have to subtract that, and then let me just do that. Hold on, let me just type that down. Oh my God, 42.5.
Okay, so $40.50. Okay, and now we're gonna pay tax. Okay, and let's just keep it simple. Let's say the tax is 10%. Okay, so what is 10%? 10% of $42.50.
What is 10% of 42?
$40.50. Yeah.
So it means you have to divide that, right?
Well, you can divide by 10, but I would prefer, like, it's better to think of it as multiplying by 0.1,
Okay.
because that's more generally what is correct.
Okay. 425.
Nope. Try again.
$4.25.
4.25. Good. So it's 4.25. So now if we go back to what we started with, And then we had our discount. Okay, but now there's tax. Does tax add to or does it reduce? Do you add it or does it take away?
You subtract.
Tax is not a discount.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out just what you said. I'm just gonna be making sure the taxes are adding and discount means subtracting.
Okay, so taxes, so let's taxes add to it, okay?
Yeah,
So you add here and you get 46.75. All right.
yeah,
Okay, so let's just, I'm gonna reset here a little bit. So we looked at the first problem we looked at, and I said, what is 10% of 40? And you told me that it's 4. And then we
yeah.
did 10% of 500. That was 50. And then we did 10% of $42. I'm sorry, 40, what did I say? $42.50. And that was 4.25. What I'm asking you to think about right now is to look at just these two numbers and tell me how can you get the right number? How does the right number come from the left number? How did 4 come from 40?
You just divide by 10.
Okay, but do you also see that it's just moving the decimal?
Yeah,
Because you may not always want to divide by 10. How about 500? Do you see that it is moving the decimal?
yeah. You divide by 1.
You're not dividing, you're moving the decimal.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm going to ask you some questions now, and the approach I want you to take is I want you to move the decimal. I want you to move the decimal to the left, move the decimal to the left. Okay, so I'm going to keep these up here, and I'm going to ask you, what is 10% of $34.80? And you're going to
Okay.
tell me that you're going to move the decimal. Which way are you moving the decimal? Which
To
way did it?
the left.
To the left,
1 space.
1 space, and this new number is 3.48.
Yeah. And then multiply.
You don't need to multiply. That's it. You're done.
Okay.
So let's try another one. What is 10% of $75? I don't want you to, I want you to do this without any technology. Just move the decimal left.
Yeah, 7.750. 7.50.
7.50. Good. Oops, I didn't get that down. All right, let's do another one here. What is 10% of $12?
12, okay. 10% of $12. 1.20.
1.20. Good. Okay. Now, if you understand that, let's try another one here. I want you to figure out what is 20% of 30. Okay. And here's how you're going to do it. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to tell me, what is 10%?
What is 10%? Okay. It's 30. This right here is 30.
No, it's not. Try again. What do you do to find 10%?
You just place the decimal at a left place.
So
Space 1 time.
what does that become? What is,
3.0.
so 10%, so 10% is 3.0. 20%, how does that compare to 10%?
What?
How does 20% compare to 10%?
10% compared to 20%. It's simple. You just have to like Just for 20%, it's double spaces.
It's double 3. You're doubling 3.
Yeah,
So what is double 3?
30.
Nope. Doubling means multiplying by 2.
Okay, so doubling. So 3.0 times
Times 2.
2. Okay, and that equals 6.0.
6.0. Perfect. Okay. So if I ask you for 20%, you first find 10% and then you double it.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's try another one here because you're going to do the same thing. What is 20% of 45.00? So
What's
to do
20% of 45.00?
so to do this correctly, you're going to first tell me what is 10% of 45.
It's 4.50, and then times multiplied by 2.
Okay, and what is that?
9.0.
9.0. Good. Okay, so let's try another one here. What is 20% of $110?
10% of 1 or 12, then $10. Okay, blah blah blah. All right, that is 11.0.
10% is 11. I agree. What is 20%?
1.1.
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you're asking another question. Okay, and then you just have to multiply by 2, right?
Yes.
22.
That's very good. Perfect. Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So let's do one more here. Maybe we'll make this just a little bit different. What is 30% of $40?
Okay, so 4.0, and then you have to multiply by 30.
By 3, not by 30. Because you,
Sorry about that.
yes.
12.0.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So how about this one? What is 30% of $130?
13.
13 is 10%.
Yeah, and then multiple by 3.
Okay, what is that?
39.
Perfect. All right. So I think you understand that. So
I think I'm understanding. I understand. I think I finally understand percents now. Thank you about that.
sure. So we can do some more problems. We can talk about, you mentioned these before, the tax, there's discounts.
I think I'm good. Because I think I know everything about percent. I 100% know everything about percents.
I think it'd be good for us to do a couple more problems, but it's up to you if are you willing to do that? Do you want to take a short, 2-minute break and then do some more work?
Maybe I'll just be done for today because it's spring. It's almost gonna be spring break.
Okay. It's that's between you and your dad. If you want
Okay.
to, why don't you ask him
Let,
if it's okay if you stop here? We're not done, but only if he says that you're done.
okay. Hold on. I'll be right back. He's coming. I'm done. Dad. I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, good. Hello, hi.
Hey, there. So, Sourish wanted to end the lesson right now. I'm happy to continue with the lesson. It's up to you and him. If,
Continue 10 more minutes. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's not interested. So that's fine. We'll meet again after this break.
yes, and that's fine with me. I've got the 29th and the 31st as our next dates. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, 29th and 30.
31st, yeah, for
Oh yeah,
March.
Tuesday and Thursday, right? Yeah, same.
Yes. Great.
7 o'clock. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I hope he enjoys the spring break. I hope you get to spend some time with him, do some fun stuff,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, bye. Have a nice bye, Matthew. Have a nice spring break.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a nice spring break.
You too. Bye.
Hey, did you finish?